Welcome to the Wellbeing Podcast, where every episode is a step towards a healthier, happier you. Let's grow, thrive, and shine together.
It's fascinating to consider how younger generations are taking a proactive approach to mental health, almost like they're creating a roadmap for a more mentally healthy world.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just talk. They're walking the walk.
Yeah.
Think about the rise of mental health apps. They're practically second nature to Gen Z, right?
Absolutely. Apps like Calm and Headspace have made mindfulness and meditation accessible to a generation that's comfortable with technology as a tool for self-care. It's like having a therapist in your pocket.
It's so different from the way previous generations approach therapy, often shrouded in secrecy. Younger generations are normalizing seeking help, making it part of their routine, like hitting the gym for their minds.
And it extends beyond apps. Millennials, for example, are really pushing for changes in the workplace. They're advocating for mental health days, flexible schedules, and open conversations about well-being. They're not afraid to say, hey, my mental health matters and it impacts my work.
Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, we're not going to follow the old rules that led to burnout and stress. We're rewriting the script for what a healthy work-life balance looks like.
Exactly. And that's reflected in studies like the 2023 Deloitte survey. A whopping 80% of Gen Z and millennials believe employers should prioritize mental health, compared to just 50% of baby boomers. That's a huge difference in perspective.
Wow. It's like they're saying this isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal one. We need systemic changes to support everyone's well-being.
And that's a really crucial point. While this deep dive started by focusing on younger generations, it's clear that mental health is a universal issue. It doesn't discriminate based on age, background, or anything else.
Right, we all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. And it's something we need to take care of collectively as a society.
That means investing in mental health resources, ensuring access to affordable care, and fostering a culture of empathy and understanding.
Yeah, it's about creating a world where it's okay to not be okay, and where seeking help is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness.
And it starts with conversations like the one we're having right now. By sharing our stories and experiences, we can help break down the stigma surrounding mental health and create a more supportive environment for everyone.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation, and I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this complex topic.
There's always more to explore, but I hope our deep dive today has given you some valuable insights and perhaps even inspired you to continue the conversation.
Before we wrap things up, we'd love to leave you with a final thought to ponder. What are some small but meaningful steps you can take in your own life to prioritize your mental well-being?
And how can we as individuals and as a society bridge the generational divides and work together to create a world where everyone feels seen, heard, and supported?
These are questions worth reflecting on as we navigate the ever-evolving landscape of mental health. Remember, you're not alone in this journey.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It's amazing how much ground we've covered in this deep dive. It really feels like we've journeyed through the evolving landscape of mental health, haven't we?
We have. And it's striking to see how different generations are shaping this landscape in their own unique ways.
Right. Like earlier we were talking about how the perception of younger generations being more anxious might actually be linked to their willingness to speak openly about mental health.
Precisely. They're challenging the old stigma that kept these conversations in the shadows. And that's a huge step forward.
But let's be real, they're also facing a world that's presenting them with some pretty unprecedented challenges. Climate change, economic uncertainty, the pressure cooker of social media. It's no wonder they're vocal about mental health.
Absolutely. We can't ignore the context. These external pressures are real and they're impacting everyone, but particularly those who are just starting out in life.
Yeah, it's like they're navigating a whole new terrain compared to previous generations, and they're having to develop new tools and strategies for coping.
Which is why it's so fascinating to see how they're innovating in the mental health space. Whether it's embracing technology like mental health apps or pushing for workplace changes that prioritize well-being, they're not waiting for someone else to fix it. They're taking action.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, this is our world, and we're going to make it a mentally healthier one.
And that's a powerful message. It's not just about individual resilience, but also about collective responsibility. We all have a role to play in creating a society that supports mental well-being.
So what are your biggest takeaways from all this? What's resonated with you the most?
For me, it's the realization that the conversation around mental health is constantly evolving, and that's a good thing. We're moving away from simplistic labels and embracing the complexity of these issues.
I agree. It's not about who's more anxious, but about how we can create a world where everyone feels empowered to take care of their mental health, regardless of their generation or background.
Exactly. And that means continuing to have these open and honest conversations, challenging outdated beliefs, and advocating for systemic change.
It's a journey we're all on together, and the more we talk about it, the less alone we'll feel.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating topic with you.
And as always, we encourage you to continue the conversation, talk to your friends, family, colleagues, share your experiences, and support each other.
Remember, taking care of your mental health is a sign of strength, and there are resources available to help you on your journey.
Thanks for listening to the Wellbeing Podcast. Take care, stay inspired, and see you next time.
So reflecting back on everything we've discussed, what are your main takeaways? What's really resonated with you?
For me, it's realizing how this conversation around mental health, it's constantly evolving, and that's a positive thing. We're moving away from simple labels, and we're starting to embrace the complexity of these issues.
I totally agree. It's not about pinpointing who's more anxious. It's about creating an environment, a world where everyone feels empowered to prioritize their mental health, no matter their generation or background.
Exactly. And to do that, we need to keep having these open and honest conversations, challenging outdated beliefs, advocating for change at a systemic level.
It's a journey we're on together. The more we talk about it, the less alone we'll feel in all of this.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, I think it's a good point to wrap up our deep dive for today.
Thanks to everyone out there for listening. It's been great exploring this topic with you.
And as always, we encourage you to keep the conversation going. Chat with your friends, family, colleagues, share your experiences, and be there for one another.
Remember, taking care of your mental health is a sign of strength, and there's help available if you need it along the way.
Thanks for listening to the Wellbeing Podcast. Take care, stay inspired, and see you next time.